guys? Welcome back to my run. Front mission first remake.
Give me a challenge and watch me prove people wrong. But I'm not about to slow down. Let's go.
We will no longer be prisoners to you, Winter. We shall fly south to where the courts are eternally bright, and we will do so with consumers selling the same coverage for up to half the cost. When freedom calls, we're here to answer.
We have a garage door that is a lift.
So I went on Angie. It took me just a handful of minutes.
So vendors, you were knowledgeable, they did higher quality work.
They wanted us to be happy with the work done as well. It is a beautiful garage, I have to say.
Get started today at Angie.com.
Always been active my whole life. Mental toughness was no match for, a maple bacon donut. That's one of my kryptonite. GLP-1 through row, I've stopped my cravings completely. Being able to dive, being able to go to kids and not feel winded is amazing. GLP-1s are like a military mindset and a shot.
Need the weekly shot that helps you lose weight? Connect with a provider at love.com. Eyes feeling dry? Tired? Stressed? Get a boost of moisture with BioTrue Hydration Boost Eye Drops for comfort throughout the day. They're preservative-free, gentle, and made with naturally inspired ingredients. Stay BioTrue to your eyes.
Alexis, show off the crowds. Technology that's ready for the man. Lexus NX.
Meet the Jennifers. Gen X, Gen Y, and Gen Z. Each planning their future for the Chase mobile app. Gen X is planning a summer in Portugal with some help from JP Morgan Wealth Plan. Let's go, Whiskers. Gen Y is working with a banker to budget for her birthday.
You only turned 30 once.
And Gen Z, her credit's golden. Hello, new apartment. 3 gens getting ahead with Chase. Solutions that grow with you. One bank for now, for later, for life. Chase, make more of what's yours.
The way that the president's demeanor in that report was characterized could not be more wrong on the facts.
The gratuitous comments in the report are troubling and they're inappropriate. But I think that the finding was the obvious one because it's the truth.
He has joked about his age understanding what voters might think. He jokes about it all the time.
This is terrible for Democrats, and anybody with a functioning brain knows that.
Well, let's bring in our panel to talk about reactions to the Robert Kerr report. Fox News senior political analyst Juan Williams, Spencer Brown, managing editor of Town Hall, and Olivia Beavers, congressional reporter for Politico. Happy Friday to all of you. Okay, so the Wall Street Journal editorial board sees this differently than many of those commenters did there. It says this: we're blaming President Biden's misuse of classified documents. The country is now asked to believe the forgetful elderly man defense. If Mr. Biden is that forgetful, how can he fulfill his presidential duties in another 4 years? Democrats have some hard thinking to do about his independence on.
Wow, I think that debate's long gone. So the train is like the station.
In which direction?
All right, he's the candidate. He's the nominee. For better or worse.
He stays on a second.
There's just no question. I think there's a sense within the party that there would be tumult, division, controversy, backstabbing galore. If you said, okay, it's open, who wants this? It would be fireworks.
It would be a free-for-all. I think for one of those who maybe are sort of running shut up. Let's talk about this. This comes out last night. We did this late in the evening kind of calling, we're going to have a press conference. We're all wondering what's going on. The president immediately comes out and says, I'm going to take questions. I'm like, wow, this could be very interesting. But how do you think that it played out in the White House? How this actually went over last night?
Well, I think it was a pure casement planned, and he came out really in a way that you don't usually see. But the problem is, right, he mixed up foreign leaders' names, and that added to already sort of a perception that his memory is, I think one of the lines was he has faulty memory and diminished faculty. And that kind of came right after. And you're already seeing Republicans taking this as Speaker Mike Johnson and all of them saying that the memory part was the most disturbing part. So they're going to be using that as political ammunition, certainly in the upcoming election.
So here's a little bit of his interaction with our Peter Ducey and some other class.
Totally underneath now. And can he continue as president? My memory is so bad I can let him speak. Do you fear that this report is only going to give people concern? Only by some of you.
You take responsibility for being careless with classified material.
I take responsibility for not seeing exactly what my staff
Nice.
Many Americans
Solves it.
and they have expressed concerns about their aid.
That is your judgment. That is your judgment.
Spencer, fair to say, well, these times.
Quite dusty. Yeah, I agree with what you said. We don't normally see that. Sometimes the Elson speeches, that was something a little different. I think the White House obviously has to decide how they're going to play this now, because again, this was hastily thrown together. He said things that contradicted what was in the special counsel's report, and that was an issue today in the White House briefing. They didn't have a great answer for it. I think they need to decide whether they're going to play it as just a total forgetful man, or how they're going to handle the fact that he continues to contradict himself, even when he's trying to make a point that he's completely confident.
Well, and all of this is playing out against the backdrop of new poll numbers from NBC News. They have this about President Biden's mental and physical health. 62% said they had major concerns. Another 14% said moderate concerns. I mean, Olivia, how is the White House digesting these numbers?
They're being quite defensive. I mean, we've been seeing for a while that some of these Democratic focus groups, this was something that they've seen more and more coming up as questions. And, you know, if you talk to some Democratic Biden aides, they'll argue that it's because they're trying so hard to prevent moments like these where he comes out forgetful, and that's making him nervous. But they also argue he's better when he's on the fly, he can just be his own person, but you still get these casts. And so they're really hoping that, I think there was a quote from one of his old advisors, that they don't hold the gas against him again.
Well, let's see. Okay, so I want to get to this other story, a big one this week. That was the big story until the Kerr report dropped, which was the arguments at the Supreme Court yesterday about whether President Trump can be kicked off the ballot by Colorado or essentially any other state. You had written a piece last week saying they got to do it. They got to kick him off. Doesn't seem like that's going to happen based on the arguments. Politico says this, that his lawyer, Jonathan Mitchell, President Trump's, delivered a buttoned-down presentation that omitted all the bombast and hyperbole the former president's legal representative typically muster when they argue on his behalf. Mitchell's arguments were so restrained that Jackson actually suggested Trump's side might be underplaying some arguments in his favor. As we debate tonight, whether it's 28190.
Well, I think that for me, as someone who thinks, well, I clearly saw an insurrection, saw who was instigating this insurrection, and I can read the 14th Amendment, Article 3, which says that someone who's been involved in insurrection is not allowed to talk. I would say that's a pretty clear case for people who are strict constructionists of the Constitution, and that's what the conservative majority of the court is. But the argument yesterday was clearly not along the line. There was no debate about was this an insurrection. The debate was really about whether or not one state's decision could impact a national election. And if it's the case that you kick off a Republican today, are you going to start kicking off Democrats tomorrow? And it seems like that's the way the court's thinking is leaning.
Well, I want to say something. President Trump is speaking right now at the NRA. He's had a lot of reaction to the arguments yesterday, the Kerr report. Here's a little bit of what he said moments ago in what is essentially a campaign style.
Joe Biden is the worst and most incompetent and most corrupt president in the history of our country. And today I issue another warning. If Joe gets 4 more years, his second term will make his first term look like paradise. We're not going to have a country left anymore.
So to those lines getting a lot of applause, he's also looking after this Kerr report and saying there's no standard with respect to President Biden. But Kerr was very clear in his report. These cases are very different. There was a different level of cooperation, allegations of obstruction, all those things as well.
Yeah, you know, obviously the president is out kind of cold pure tonight at the NRA. That's the place where he excels, and he's going absolutely wild. I think when it comes to the difference of cases, obviously today at the White House, Jane Sam, spokesman for the White House counsel's office, trying to make it very clear that those are two different things and draw that distinction again. But obviously has a battle when it comes to arguing that what happened in his case is somehow not a problem for him, as it is for Donald Trump, even if the charge is wrong.
All right, ask you a very quick winner. That's what's up.
Winner for this week, the winner is NRSC, as Brett was reporting earlier, getting former Hogan in the race. You know, that's unfortunate. Democrats will play a lot harder in that state. It's not going to be an easy maintain for them. And then loser, in addition to her report, obviously, what happened in the Supreme Court, as we were discussing, did not go well for those hoping that Donald Trump would get kicked off the ballot.
Right, even quicker. The winners are people who can watch Taylor Swift on Monday. And we might get a do-over on the Army impeachment. Yeah, sounds like it might happen Tuesday morning.
I think the Representative Al got out of the hospital. The cast of Oklahoma kept Mayorkas, the Homeland Security Secretary, from being impeached. And then I think a loser, Mike Johnson, the Speaker, just had a very tough deal to fail to impeach Mayorkas, and also refused the border security deal that included much of what the GOP had long demanded to fix security.
Panel, you were wonderful. Thank you very much. It is Friday, time for notable footballs.
I know me, I know my name, and I know what they want to do. How do I get your memory? So bad.
This is a tough night for the president, and I think the Democratic Party are going to have serious questions going forward. The special counsel used the term that he did this willfully. It implies intention. I'm frankly a little shocked that he's lasted this long.
We always knew that was a scam.
So I'd like to congratulate none of the above. Republicans are seeing it too. It's an emergency, but it can wait 12 months or until the end of time. Or better.
The Senate just got a hard smackdown by the American people.
What this legislative back and forth over the last couple of days has been like, I would say it's one of my most disappointing days since being up here on Capitol Hill.
How you keep your job when you're not doing your job to secure the nation.
This vote, the yeas are 214 and the nays are 216. The resolution is not adopted.
I would say it's a clown show, but that would be a disservice to actual working clowns.
Well, I'm a believer in our country, and I'm a believer in the Supreme Court.
I don't believe that the president is a get-out-of-jail-free card.
So another slow day at the office.
All right, Monday on the report on Huffman Island, the Middle East, and what is being called a Disagree Better campaign. And please join me for Fox News Sunday. We will talk with Senator Tom Cotton of the Intel Committee and Ranking Member of the House Armed Services Committee, Democrat Adam Smith. Thank you for watching Special Report. I'm Tina Green in Washington. The Ingram Angle has you covered from every side. It is up next.
Hello everyone, I'm Laura Ingram. This is the Ingram Angle from Washington tonight. As always, thanks for being with us. The enablers. That's the focus of tonight's angle. Right, the world knows the truth. Putin knows, Xi knows, our allies know that Joe Biden, America's commander-in-chief, is in serious mental decline. And everyone saw what that looks like last night. Now, this is not a political debate. It is a factual certainty. No amount of briefings by staff, his press office, his lawyers will convince voters here or leaders in other countries that Biden himself is in charge. Now, someone over at the White House is making the big calls, and it ain't this guy.
I know me, I know my man, I know the president, I just country back on the street. My memory's fine.
67% think we're on the wrong track. I'm right back on track. All right, they sent him out last night to try to reassure the country, but it just confirmed what everyone knows.
Initially, President of Mexico became to allow humanitarian material to get in. I talked to him. I came to him.
Okay, Mexico is not Egypt, and Egypt is not Mexico. But we're all supposed to watch this and blame the special counsel for telling us what the press refused to report on for the last 3+ years? Now, it's not like these verbal wanderings and confused recollections are anything new here. On the Angle, we've been reporting on this for years, like back in 2022, when he tried to do a shout-out to a congresswoman, Jackie Walorski, despite the fact that the Indiana Republican had died in a car accident a month earlier.
Jackie, where's Jackie? I know that show us something here to help make this a reality.
And how did CNN report on this at the time? With the headline, Biden's gaffe plays right into Republicans' hands. So the focus is on the mean Republicans pouncing, not on what the comments said about the president's mental acuity. And don't forget also, by that time, the media had already seen myriad examples of how diminished Biden's mental capacity had become. But CNN didn't care. It was playing defensive tackle for the man who saved the world from Trump. Now, last night, after the report dropped and the comms team had not had the chance to give the press a clear narrative, well, that was one of the few times they actually started to sound like they're real reporters. That was actually refreshing to hear and see. But by the morning, many in the media were back in enabling mode, back on the team, echoing the White House's defense.
He's a puss. He clerked for Chief Justice Rehnquist. Who led the fight against Rehnquist's confirmation? Senator Joe Biden. Oh, maybe he's biased. Okay, he worked for Donald Trump. Who defeated Donald Trump, which got this guy to lose his job as a prosecutor in Maryland? But Joe Biden. This was a terrible choice by Merrick Garland. First of all, I wonder why in the world he would put that in a report. His neurological assessment of Joe Biden. And secondly, when Merrick
Okay, guys, we'll catch you next time. All right, peace out.
Garbage like that in the Justice Department reporting.
Now, they're not only attacking Mr. Kerr, they're attacking Merrick Garland. I mean, come on, man. I mean, if you're so easily manipulated, maybe it's time to go into another line of work.